Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Tom Johnson begins now.
Good evening, everyone. Tasmanian foster care institution Keneley has given way to pressure and decided to opt in to the National Redress Scheme for survivors of child sexual abuse. But the organisation says it doesn't know how much its liability will cost and warns without more government financial support, its current foster care services could be under threat.
After months saying it couldn't be afforded, today Keneley's chief announced it's signing up to the National Redress Scheme.
That decision was based on what we felt was an ethical and moral responsibility for all institutions to step up and stand as a nation.
It's the same scheme that has forced the Tasmanian Anglican Church sell-off, providing financial support and counselling to victims of child sexual abuse in the wake of the Royal Commission. Keneley says it knows of some historical cases of abuse in its care, but doesn't know the exact number or the cost of its liability.
We won't actually know until we've fully gone through the whole Memorandum of Understanding process, and if then, what the implications will be for us financially.
The state government threatened to cut off money to institutions like Keneley, who had refused to sign up to the scheme. The organisation, now caring for 120 children, says its current services could be under threat if the government doesn't contribute more ongoing funding.
If any organisation within our community, particularly those who have partnerships and arrangements with government, need additional support, then those matters should be worked through with the departments, of course, and within the constraints of our budgets.
I do believe that there'll be a negotiated way forward because I believe they want the same thing as us. I believe they do want to safeguard children, and now it's time to put their money where their mouth is and to reach into their pockets and to find the money to stop this happening again.
For anyone seeking support, services are available. Michael Breen, 7 Tasmania News.
The ongoing tensions between the state government and Australian Education Union are set to roll on even longer, with the union today rejecting a proposal offered to them which it had previously endorsed. A meeting was held today on the proposal which would see full-time teachers' pay increased but payloading for relief teachers decreased. It's now preparing to put forward a counter-proposal to the government which removes the changes to relief teachers' pay. The government says the union should respect the democratic process and the fact 70% of its members had supported the original proposal. Health researchers say parts of Tasmania are stuck in the 1970s, according to their smoking rates. 2 local suburbs have gained the unenviable title as the smoking capitals of the country.
Trying to kick the habit of smoking is a common story in Bridgewater.
I give up for 12 months. At Christmas time, when you have a drink, you have a smoke.
I've been smoking for too long, so, got to give up eventually.
Oh, well, I got sick one day, and my chest, like bronchitis, and I give it up, and I never had it since.
Today, this suburb, along with Gagebrook, have been highlighted as having the worst smoking rates in the country. 40% of people smoke here, compared with the national average of 14%.
I think the rate's probably actually getting worse as well. I think the younger children coming through, it's a big peer pressure thing as well. It obviously has a bit of a cool look to it. So people are coming through and it is getting a little bit worse.
We know that 2 out of 3 smokers will die prematurely before other people that don't smoke, and we know that it causes 16 types of cancer. So there's lots of reasons why we encourage people to keep trying to quit smoking.
I started smoking at 14 years of age. I now have 4 weeks to live.
An advertising push has been launched in Tasmania, backing up moves in state parliament to slowly raise the age for purchasing cigarettes to 21.
And if we as politicians, knowing the impact of tobacco smoking on people, if we fail to do something to change that, then we are not doing our job. We are letting these people down.
But for those trying to kick the habit, there are options.
So you can obviously go and see a general practitioner, and there are things on prescription, but you can also start with over-the-counter products. There's patches, sprays, gum, all those types. So there's plenty of options for people to be able to quit.
Michael Breen, 7 Tasmania News.
Rates of animals being injured or killed on Tasmanian roads have reached crisis point, according to Bonorong Wildlife Sanctuary. The organisation warning if guidelines aren't followed, the situation is only going to get worse and it needs more carers to ensure precious creatures survive.
This little Paddy Melon Marquee is tucking into her mid-morning feed, recovering from being hit by a car. Also getting stuck in, these charismatic tawny frogmouths, having a leisurely time here at Bonorong Wildlife Sanctuary.
Friday night, fellas.
This food and carer Melissa their lifeline after traumatic experiences. But sadly, not all animals are as lucky as these ones. A new report released today looked into the 23,000 calls the organisation received between 2010 and 2016, finding a third were animals hit by a car.
So lots of wallabies that come in with broken legs or a lot of concussions.
We can put that data together and that allows us to potentially approach councils about problem areas, allows us to know where to target for more rescuers.
Tasmania is widely described as the roadkill capital of the world. Some animals survive road trauma, but many are killed.
It's not just the animals that are being hit by cars themselves, it's all of the orphans that are getting called through as well, which was the second most common call type found in that study.
Greg Irons is calling the situation dire. Simple acts can make a difference, such as picking up rubbish, driving slower at night and ensuring cats and dogs are kept responsibly.
I think if people spent a week with us and saw what we saw, they would realise the actual impacts this has on the animal.
The sanctuary is also putting out a call for more rescuers, a role described as an animal ambulance, supported by free training sessions.
So they basically pick things up and take them to where they need to go, so you don't need a lot of time to be a rescuer.
Bonorong currently has around 350 carers on its books. It says it needs those numbers to triple unless, of course, the amount of injured or killed wildlife on our roads is brought down.
For those looking to give back, maybe someone who's retired and has got a bit of time on their hands and wanted to do something really special, then wildlife caring is absolutely a great way to go.
Unlike this long-term resident,
baby,
the ultimate aim is to get the animals rehabilitated and to find their wings or to get back on their own 2 feet. Louise Hedger, 7 Tasmania News.
Launceston developer Errol Stewart has launched a $50 million bid to build a suite of high-rise apartments along the city's waterfront. He's optimistic there's a market for the units, with each one expected to fetch a price of at least $1 million.
Is there a market for $1 million apartments in Launceston? Developer Errol Stewart thinks so and is about to spend $50 million to find out.
It's a bold development, but it's a great development and I think it's doable.
This is what he hopes to start building in January 2020. 2 towers, 13 stories high, each with 22 swish apartments. The project is the first of its kind in Launceston, and with that comes challenges.
What you've got to be able to do is convince people that it's a good thing to do to live in a high-rise, and we think we can do that.
There's also Invermay locals and the broader community to convince. To sweeten the deal, a string of new stores would be added, including a boutique supermarket and retailer. The plans are leading to calls for faster action on the Tamar River's long-standing sewerage woes.
So here is the most significant residential development in Launceston for probably ever, and it's right next to the Tamar.
Mr Stewart also wants the state government to help restore Kings Wharf, sitting idle after being destroyed by fire in the 1970s. The Treasurer says he's yet to see any proposals, but is backing the new apartments.
I think this is a fantastic development that's being proposed. It's one that we will obviously look very closely at.
Sean McComish, 7 Tasmania News.
The City of Launceston has nearly cleared the way for buildings higher than 24 metres to fill the skyline, but only if they meet strict conditions. Councillors rubber-stamped the draft plan on Thursday. 14.5 metres would be the standard acceptable height in the city centre. Mayor Albert Van Zetten says the proposal is the right balance between maintaining the city's character and encouraging new development. The council is now seeking public feedback. Hundreds of Tasmanians will be facing a long night on the treadmill as they take part in a 24-hour nationwide challenge. They're raising funds for suicide prevention in support of the mental health charity Are You OK?
Taking the first steps in a 24-hour non-stop hike. This Anytime Fitness personal trainer is striving forward for a cause close to her heart.
I've experienced loss through suicide. A couple of friends, so yes, it's very important for me to raise awareness.
With the Tasmanian drawing on her own battle with the black dog.
I thought that if I can pull myself through major depressive, where I went through days where I thought of suicide every single day, I can get myself through 24 hours on a treadmill to help raise funds for people who really need it.
Mental health charity Are You OK is aiming to raise $500,000 in the nationwide tread as one challenge, with the initiative gaining support from Tasmanian organisation Speak Up Stay Chatty.
We really strive to remind people every day the importance of physical health and how much that contributes positively to your mental health. So, initiatives like this where it just brings people in and brings people together, it's making a massive difference across the country.
And Anna says she's confident she'll be able to get through the long haul.
I'll just take it hour by hour, as I do every single day in my life. I take it day by day, so I don't think too far ahead. And it's just about getting each hour done.
If you or anyone you know needs help, please contact Lifeline. Ruby Kamane, 7 Tasmanian News.
Metro bus drivers have once again hit the brakes, walking off the job in Burnie as part of their ongoing pay row with the company. 16 school runs were disrupted, along with 55 service runs, as 27 drivers stopped work this afternoon. The union is after a pay rise of 5% each year over 3 years. In a statement, Metro said it was disappointed with the action. Launceston residents wanting to recycle unwanted tyres will soon be able to do so for free at the city's waste centre. The council says the June initiative aims to combat illegal dumping.
If you don't dispose of your tyres correctly, they have negative impacts for the environment, and the fact that they sit around, they harbour disease, and it's also fire risks, and it's also the fact that it's made out of rubber, so once it's in our environment, it's staying there.
Residents will be able to dispose of up to 8 tyres until the 1st of July.
And after having the week off to reflect on a demoralising loss to North Launceston, Kingborough will be desperate to prove they've still got what it takes to match it with the TSL's best sides when they take on Lauderdale tomorrow, while North Hobart face another big test up against the informed Blues. The Tigers coach had no interest in making excuses for their 113-point loss to the reigning premiers in round 8.
When you have a margin like that, there's nowhere to hide. You've really got to dig deep into why and the hows and what you can do to arrest that.
With many still unsure just where the Tigers stand in the scheme of things, the side is keen to silence the doubters at home tomorrow, but they'll need to get through a side who've dropped just the one game this season first.
We've got to match them at the contest and hopefully, get it out on the outside to our leg speed and get the ball in our forwards, do them some favours.
After surprising the competition with an upset win over the Pies, Launceston will look to continue closing the gap on the top 3 sides with a percentage-boosting win over the competition's cellar dwellers.
To beat Glenorchy is a really big milestone for us. We haven't done that since 2012, and hopefully that can be the catalyst going forward.
While North Hobart insists it's still a vastly improved club to 2018, despite sitting winless after 8 games of footy, hoping to provide the biggest shock of the season at Windsor Park tomorrow.
We're definitely in games, and a lot of the players getting more and more senior footy into them, which has been their aim. So, definitely well ahead of last year.
To soccer, and the NPL's 2 Northern Bay sides will be out for bragging rights this weekend when the second Launceston derby of 2019 kicks off. City will also be hoping to exact some revenge following their 2-1 loss to Riverside back in March.
There's a lot of good stuff going on in football in Launceston, and when the spotlight's shining on these 2 teams for just a short period of time, it's nice.
You need your Launceston team succeeding and doing well for the simple fact that we're so far behind the 8 ball at the moment with the Hobart teams.
In the weekend's other matchups, Glenorchy take on Clarence, while Kingborough tackle the tough task of providing the upset over Devonport, with fellow competition heavyweights Olympia and Zebras also set to clash. The Launceston Tornadoes are calling on fans to pack out Elfin Stadium tomorrow night and help the side get its NBL 1 season back on track. But that will be no easy task up against the Geelong Supercats, who are sitting pretty on top of the competition ladder with 11 wins from 12 matches.
The home crowd does amazing things for us. It's always really exciting playing in front of them versus away, so I think that I'm really optimistic about the rest of the season, and a big part of that comes from playing at home.
Following a disappointing road trip last weekend, the Tawns are currently lingering towards the bottom of the table with 3 wins and 8 losses. Some of Tasmania's up-and-coming shredders had the chance to pick the brains of 2 of surfing's best-known and most respected figures today, with 1999 and 2012 world champions Mark Occhilupo and Joel Parkinson sharing their tips on what it takes to reach the pinnacle of the sport during a Q&A session in Hobart. And Occhi and Parko say it's only a matter of time before the state produces its own world champ.
You have to surf all kinds of waves, and I was talking to a local about it today, and he was like, oh, you know, you got to get out of Tasmania if you want to do any good in anything, which I don't agree.
Just because you say, oh, I came from Tasmania, or I came from here, it'll never happen. Don't ever believe that, you know. It's a lot of it's self-belief, and you know, having the sense of belonging that you can be there and you know you belong there.
The pair even managed to sneak a surf in this morning at one of South Arm's famous point breaks.
Good evening. Perfect for day one of the Campbelltown show today. In fact, Campbelltown itself was founded in 1821. The first show happened in 1838 and it's still going today. And tomorrow as well. 17 today in Campbelltown, Hobart 14, Launceston the top with 18, Burnie 15 today in Devonport 17 degrees. The low overnight was -3 at Lyowini and on Mount Wellington. St Helens 17 today, Lowhead 16, Flinders Island 15, King Island, Friendly Beaches, Grove and Ooze 14 degrees, Strawn 13 today. Low stratocumulus cloud is over us today. The northeast had areas of clear sky. That cloud also over southeastern Australia due to a high trapping moisture underneath, all the cold unstable air off to the east. A cold front is heading over the Bight, and over the northeast cloud is streaming down the Gulf of Carpentaria and eastern Queensland. Tomorrow, the strong high over the Bight remains the main influencer. A cold front is on approach to Tasmania. The winds southwesterly, mainly 10 to 20 knots, gradually shifting west-southwest and reaching 25 knots over the south and east. Hobart tomorrow, 15 and partly cloudy, 12 the top for Medina with a bit of drizzle about, sunny for Oatlands and 12 degrees. Launceston, morning fog, then sunny, 16 the top, 15 for Devonport. A light frost for Lyowini, but mostly sunny and 10 degrees. Was going to give the forecast for Waratah for tomorrow, but apparently no one's living there for this weekend. They're all on the Gold Coast. Good on them. Burnie sunny and 15, 13 for Strawn, and Marrawar cloudy and 14 degrees. While for St Helens sunny and 16, 17 the top for Swansea, mostly sunny for Orford and 15. On Sunday, showers extending statewide during the day with snow down to 700 metres. Showers easing on Monday with more highland snow, and on Tuesday, fine apart from a shower for the southeast and the south and west coasts. Sunny and 25 in Perth tomorrow. Partly cloudy in Adelaide, a cool day in Melbourne with a light shower. Showers also for Sydney with a top of 20, partly cloudy and 23 in Brisbane. Partly cloudy in Hobart at the moment, 11 the top, 11 right now in Launceston and 10 degrees in Devonport. Sorry about the flu symptoms tonight, Tom. Of course you can smell me right now, the wintergreen, the camphor, the eucalyptus and whiskey, but I'll get over it.
Oh, we're all thinking of you, mate. Hope you get better soon. Well, that's all your news for now. We'll be back with updates a little later on. Thanks so much for joining us. Good night.